Nissan of Silsbee, did you know that we have a complete service department? Whether you need detailed mechanical work or just a $12.95 oil change, we can handle it for you. And we rent new Nissans. And we rent to everybody. Get a 3-day weekend for just $99 or rent it longer.
And of course, we sell. Get a 2011 Nissan Altima for just $199 per month or get a great deal on a certified pre-owned vehicle.
But best of all, at Nissan of Silsbee, we're making deals the Silsbee way.
JP White, SportsSpeak Sports, where we speak sports, we talk sports, and we talk a few other things. And happy to have David Shaw's with me today.
Thank you, JP. Glad to be here.
David, you're a long-time good old buddy of mine, and one or two good things I know about you. One of the probably the best things I know about you, you're smart enough to marry Brother Barkley's daughter, Frances.
Yes, sir.
And then if you hung on to her too, she's a keeper, wasn't she?
Yes, sir.
And you hung on to her all this long, huh? How long has that been? Just get a little bit about you.
47 years.
Then you're rolling, you're cooking. I think you're going to have it made.
Yeah.
Okay, David Shaw's, I know that you work with the Little League. And I want you to tell me, did you work with the Little League?
Yes, sir. I coached in the minor league, which is 8 to 12. And I did that.
What, from 8 in the morning to 12?
No, 8 years old to 12 years old.
Oh, you got to get me straightened out on this, you know. I don't want to get confused. I'm easily confused. Yeah. Go ahead.
The 8-year-olds had to play in the minor league, and then the 9s through 12s that weren't picked on their major league teams ended up in the minor league. And so that's what we did that, and I did that from 1973 through 1991. When I started doing that, that was before they had the rule that you had to play everybody.
Oh.
And when I started, I decided that I was going to let everybody play, regardless of how good they were or bad. And I did that, and I would let each boy or girl, as it turned out, because girls came later, play at least half of the game and bat at least once. And then later on it became a rule that you had to let them play every game, but not that much, you know. But it worked out real good. We won a few games. We lost an awful lot. But
that's all right.
But that's like I used to tell those boys and girls, that it really didn't matter whether they won or lost. You know, that the world wasn't going to end because they lost the ball game. I told them, I said, well, the world might end tonight, but it won't be because you lost the ball game.
There you go.
And so we worked out. It worked out fine, and I have a lot of fond memories, and every once in a while I'll see some big old boy that walk up and start grinning, and I remember when they were little fellas, you know, like this.
And they don't look like that now, huh?
No, sir. They had to, a lot of times they'll have to tell me who they are.
There you go.
But a lot of them I still remember because I see them some.
Well, then you didn't play football.
I played in high school. I was on the team, and I like to say I got to see every game up close. Back then, this was in '53 when I was a senior in high school, and we had to sit on the bench. You know, they actually had to sit when you weren't in the game. And of course, my name being Shaw's, and one night I was sitting there on the bench, and I never got to play, hardly ever. And one night the coach turned around and pointed at me and called my name, and I didn't understand it. I said, well, he called my name, and I dropped my helmet, I jumped up and ran up to see what, you know, where he wanted me to do. And he told me to sit back down. He said, I didn't say Shaw's, I said towels. And the manager was sitting next to me, and he was asking the manager to bring him a towel. And I thought I was going to go play. But I didn't get to play that night.
Oh, sure. Oh, well, that's pretty good. How about that?
But we were in high school in Louisiana, in town of Bogalusa, and we were in a district with 3 high schools in Baton Rouge, and we were the smallest school in the largest classification, whatever that was back then, and we had to play those big schools out of Baton Rouge. And we ended up that year, I think, 6-4, but we had some pretty good games, and I did get to, I think I got to play a total of 7 plays at my senior year.
My goodness, 7 plays. How about that?
And most of those were two plays in 3 different games.
All right. Well, how about baseball? Did you do any baseball?
No, sir. I never did play baseball. I played a little softball, but and like I said, I played with the company team, and I played with the church team. But I don't know how I got really started in that little league. But well, when my oldest boy was 8, and he wanted to play, so I started then, and I didn't intend to go beyond that. Well, then my other boy came along a couple of years later, and then he played, and I just stayed with it and coached the same team. There was always different kids, but I've had, I guess, really some of the best memories in my life came from that period of time. And of course, 1 or 2 sort of bad ones too. But never really had any trouble with kids, the boys and girls. Give them the rules and how you had to act and whatever, and they'd do it. And then I'd tell them if they didn't do by my rules, then they wouldn't get to play.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to make them say yes sir, no sir, and call me mister, and I would tell them I would not accept and It's either yes, I would accept yes or no, but I preferred yes sir and no sir. And we got along pretty well after that.
Sure. Well, that's good. You give them a little philosophy, and that made them better for life. How about basketball? Did you do any basketball?
No, sir. I never did. I played, like I said, on the church league, and when I was in college, intramurals, but that was about it. I did do some boxing in the intramurals when I was a freshman in college.
Where?
At Southeastern Louisiana College. And I had never had on a pair of boxing gloves in my life.
Uh-oh.
And I fought the first fight, and I won. I got thinking I must be pretty good. Well, the next fight, I fought a little boy from New Orleans, I believe, but he was a southpaw. And just a natural reaction when he'd throw that right, you duck out away from it. Well, when I ducked it away from that right, I ducked it right into his left.
Ooh.
And it was a good thing we only fought 3 one-minute rounds, because I don't think I could have made it beyond that.
Ooh.
He whooped me pretty bad.
No.
So I hung up my boxing gloves with a record of 1-1.
There you go. You went to college where?
And I went 2 years to Southeastern Louisiana College in Hammond, and then I went to Louisiana Tech in Ruston, and that's where I graduated.
And what kind of degrees or training did you have when you got out of that?
I got a Bachelor of Science degree in forestry.
No, okay, you know about those trees.
A little bit.
Yeah. There you go. Where'd you work then once you came out of that?
Well,
You did work, didn't you?
yes, sir, a little bit. Well, when I first got out of school, I got out in August of '59, and I interviewed for jobs. You couldn't hardly buy a job, but in April of 1960, well, actually in March of 1960, I consulting forester out of Denham Springs, Louisiana, hired me and some more fellows, and we went to Honduras to cruise, to estimate timber.
Honduras?
Honduras, and interestingly enough, it was pine timber. We were up at about 5,000 feet elevation, and it was natural slash pine that was growing down there. And it was a lot like the old longleaf forest with just pine trees and grass. No bushes, no brush, briars, or anything. And we did that, and they would fly us to work in helicopters because they didn't have any road system good enough, and we had to cover a lot of ground. So they would take 2 men in a helicopter and fly us and drop us off, and we had aerial photographs, and we would estimate the timber on a certain area, and then they'd come back in the evening and pick us up, and we'd go back to the camp and get up the next day and go do it again.
Counting trees.
Yes, sir. And they were thinking about building a paper mill down there, and going to base it on what we came up with. Well, they never did build a paper mill down there. A lot of timber, but it was pretty slow growing, and they would have had to constructed roads, you know, just miles and miles of roads. I guess that's why they didn't do it. Oh, it was late October, early November when I got called into the Air Force. I was in the reserves, and that's when they built the wall in Berlin, and nobody really knew what was going to happen. So they activated a bunch of the reservists, and I was attached to a New Jersey Air National Guard outfit. And I went to New Jersey, and then they flew us to France. And I was at Chaumont Air Base in France until August of the next year, because my call-up was, it said on the paper, a year unless sooner relieved, and I got out in about, I guess, 9 or 10 months. And then that was in August of '62, and in October of '62, I came over to Texas to work for what was then called Southwestern Settlement Development Company, and out of Jasper. And I came to Silsbee in, I believe it was February or March of '63. And I worked for the company almost 40 years till I retired about 10 years ago. And I've been retired since August of '01.
Okay, and then you retired, and then what are you doing in your retirement?
Well, I peddle around the house. I got a little woodworking shop out there by my house, and I make bird houses and things like that. I'd go out there. I got an air conditioner, and I'd go out there sometime, turn the air conditioner on, and just peddle around.
J.P. White, David Shaw, SportsSpeak Sports, where we speak sport and talk about a few other things, and we'll be back with another SportsSpeak, Speak Sports, whatever, later. Thank you, David Shaw.
Thank you, J.P. Enjoyed it.
SportsSpeak Golf Cars and Motorbikes, Highway 327 West in Silsbee, has a sophisticated, street-legal Tony Lamborghini golf cart, 6-seaters, 4-seaters, customized trailers, LaFree electric bikes, manual pedal bikes, and a motorized Velo Solex, tires, wheels, trolleys, and accessories for club car and easy-go. SportsSpeak Golf Cars and Motorbikes, Highway 327 West in Silsbee. Call them at 385-3838.